I'm Michael Krigsman, an industry analyst and the host of CXOTalk. And today we're talking about B2B programmatic advertising with two world experts. Anudit Vikram, Senior Vice President of Audience Solutions at Dun and Bradstreet, and Mike Zaneis, who is the CEO of the Trustworthy Accountability Group. When we talk about B2B programmatic advertising, what do we mean?
Essentially, programmatic is all about advertising using machines, using technology, and using what we have now to be more efficient than how we were running advertising in the past. So the olden days of many people running advertising using IOs, creating media plans, has kind of given way to machines, making us a little bit more faster, cheaper in some ways, at running advertising using algorithms and bidding on media, deciding the actual price automatically, and essentially just scaling out advertising way more than we could have in the past.
So programmatic advertising gives marketers a way of connecting the dots between their marketing spend and the ROI they get back.
Absolutely. I mean, technology, the best thing about technology, it allows you to measure just about everything that you're doing. And so one of the bigger benefits of programmatic, outside of the fact that it gives us this immense scale in letting advertisers, brand marketers reach exactly who they want and when, is also the ability to connect back to what was working for them. Where was money actually being rightly spent?
Mike, the Trustworthy Accountability Group is focused on key challenges that marketers must address as they're engaging in this type of program. So tell us about that.
So we've gone away from sort of one-to-one relationships that used to exist, and now it's one-to-many. Marketers have perhaps hundreds or even thousands of partners then touch their ads before they actually are displayed on a website or device. So the challenge is to have transparency around who your partners are, to make sure that they're legitimate actors, to make sure your ads are on next to appropriate content, and then, of course, to make sure that real humans are seeing your ads and not non-human fraudulent traffic.
So there's a need to rebuild that chain of trust.
There really is. It's about transparency. That's the foundation of trust. And so the idea of having common standards and a high level of conduct then you can hold your partners to is what's vitally important these days in this space.
Yeah, if you look at the Lumascape, one of the most popular diagrams in our space, you can see the hundreds and thousands of actors that play here. And I think what programmatic does for us is it allows each of those actors to provide value into the supply chain. And so, having companies like Tag be there and put in processes in place which allow us to then have that visibility into the actual supply chain, into the advertising technology supply chain, if you will, becomes even more important for us today.
So Mike, it's data and trust that come together that create the right kind of result with programmatic advertising for marketers.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's a wonderful marriage when we can make it happen. There's been a bit of a disconnect over the past few years as the industry has really grown and matured into the programmatic space. But I think because of data sets like what D&B provides to the industry, because of programs like TAG and others like the Media Ratings Council accreditations, we're bringing those two variables back together into this wonderful harmony, which is going to really provide value and brand safety to marketers.
So what is your collected wisdom, so to speak, having done this for a long time, that you can offer to marketers?
Well, when we think about data, I think about it in three major, buckets, if you will. First, the fact that we have access to data means that we can be so much better at identifying and targeting the people that we want to reach. Second, the fact that we have data means that we are going to be so much better at measuring what our marketing campaign is actually doing for us. And finally, being able to take that data, that measured information that we have, and then run analysis against it, run models against it. So you use the data for targeting, you use data for measurement, and then you use the data for analysis, which feeds right back into targeting and makes everything become so much more efficient in the long run.
And Mike, you're going to get the last word. What is your advice to marketers on ensuring that that chain of trust remains intact?
The key for marketers these days is to take personal responsibility. It's all about brand safety, and that begins with you. and you have to own it and use it appropriately. It can give you power and a wonderful ROI.
Mike Zaneis, CEO of the Trustworthy Accountability Group, and Anudit Vikram, Senior VP of Audience Solutions, Dun and Bradstreet. Thank you so much for taking your time today.